All right, how's it going, friends? What's going on? Let's crank this out. Today, what are we going to do? We are going to look at taking these verbal expressions, these sentences, these sentence fragments, and turn them into symbols so that when we get to the point where we're talking about stuff, you know what I'm saying, and you know what that means symbolically when I say words out loud. Got to make sure you know it. Or when we have an awesome application problem, like these here fellas, you're going to need to be able to know what that actually means in the context. So let's get this. All right, here we go. There's some keywords key phrases that I want you to be aware of that happen when we talk about addition. There's like some that are normal, like add. Ooh, that's a highlighter. Some that are normal, like add, and then some that are like weird, like more than. Or like, who said this? This is a weird one. Increased by. Like, come on. But that happens. People are like that. And when it gets a little wonky is like subtraction, right? So subtracted from, somebody could say, or decreased by, or less than can kind of be weird because then that's like an inequality, if you know what that is. Or decreased by less than. I think I'm missing some, but we'll come back to those. Anyways, multiplication, multiply times, right? Stuff like that. Division, divide. These ones are pretty like divide. Quotient. If you see like a word quotient in there, we're talking about division. Stuff like that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at number one. Translate the following verbal sentence into an equation. A number, x, decreased by 4 is 16. What? A number? So let's take this apart. We can't read the whole thing. If you like read the whole thing, it's like a gobbledygook of just junk. So let's read it, the whole thing, and then break it apart. A number, x. Okay, so I'm going to write this on there. Decreased by, that's like take this away. Decreased by, so the minus decreased by 4 is, that's a special word. That's a key word in math. That means equals. Is equals 16. What's up? There's number 2. 15 times a number subtracted from 80. Ooh, here we go. Subtracted from 80 is 25. So subtracted, we know that that's going to be subtraction. But that's kind of like this one's a weird one. Subtracted from, we talked about that one. This one gets kind of weird. So if we look at 5 multiplied by, okay, wait, hold on, skip one. 15 times the number, so 15 times the number, we'll give it a variable x. Subtracted from 80. So we're thinking subtraction, but what's being subtracted? Is it the 80 that's being subtracted, or is it the 15x that's being subtracted? So 15 times the number subtracted from 80, which means that the 15x is actually the thing that's being subtracted. 80 minus 15x. You see that? It's kind of like a reverse thing going on there. Is equal to 25. 25. Here we go. Number 3. 5 multiplied by the difference of a number and 10 is 45. What? Reading it all at once is kind of confusing. But if we slow down and we take a look at it, and we break it apart, 5 multiplied by, okay, so that's times, right? The difference. So if you read this, you can see like there's an operator right here, multiplied by, and then there's a second operator like right next to it in the word. That's usually an indication that we're going to have a quantity, a grouping symbol, when there's 2 operations like written right next to each other. So 5 multiplied by the difference. We have 2 operators there. So 5 multiplied, so we're going to have parentheses. 2 operations right next to each other. Typically, we have parentheses. By the difference of a number and 10. Again, we have difference of a number, would be a variable, and 10. Those are going to be in order, left to right precedent there. And then is equals, right? And then 45. There we go. All right. Number 3, second number 3. Look at this. This is exciting. We have 1, 2, 3, and then a second number 3. What's up? Okay. 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8 is the same as 16. Again, lots of stuff. Let's break it apart. 2 plus. Now, do you see plus quotient? We have two operators together, so there is going to be some measure of grouping going on here. But you'll see with the way we write it, we don't really need it because it's divide and adding, and there's order of operations that deals with it. So we actually don't need the parentheses, but there's an asterisk on that. Okay, 2 plus the quotient of a number. So quotient, divide of a number. So a number and 8 is the same as 16. I mean, that's like equals or is. Okay. All right, let's get it. One of the key points that we've got going on here is we are slowing down and we are breaking it. We're reading the whole thing, try to get an idea, kind of ruminate on the whole statement, and then break it apart in pieces and really dig in. Here we go. Number 4, which is number 5, but like it's confusing because we had 2 number 3s. Okay, so 27 times. So we're going to do that. Let's just start dropping it like it's hot here. So 27 times K. We actually don't need the times anymore. We'll just drop a K. 27 times K is, that's an equals, Y squared. What is squared? Oh, that's an exponent of 2, so Y squared. Decreased by 7. Decreased by 9. So decreased by is a minus. Nice. Yes, that's exciting. Okay, number 5. The sum of 2 times a number and 4 is divided by 3. Wait. The sum of 2 times a number and 4 divided by 3 is 8. All right. The sum of 2 times a number. So sum is add. Ooh, you know what? That's another keyword we need to write. So for adding sum. The sum of 2 times a number and 4. So 2 times a number and 4. So 2 times, right? 2 times a number and then the sum of those, and we're going to add 4. Remember, we're breaking apart. I like to reread it over and 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 over again to make sure that I understand what the statement is instead of just being like, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of words and I don't get it. So I take it apart slowly. Okay, divided by 3. So we have, okay, the sum of 2 times a number and 4 divided by 3. So this is another little grouping stuff going on because we have this whole group that we're talking about. This is a group. And then we're dropping in, oops, this is a group. And then we're dropping in another operation. Divided by 3 is 8. All right, here we go. Get it. Okay, translate the sentence into a formula. So degrees Kelvin K equals, do we even know what degrees Kelvin is? I don't even know. Degrees Kelvin K equals, so we'll just say K because it gives us a variable. 273 plus degrees Celsius, so let's add C. It gives us a variable. There we go. Boom. There we go. All right, number 6. In a right triangle, the square of the measure of the hypotenuse C is equal to the sum of the squares of the measures of the legs A and B. What? Don't read it all. I mean, read it all at once and then break it apart. On the right triangle, okay, we have some context associated with the right triangle. So we know stuff about that probably. The square of the measure of the hypotenuse C. So let's turn that. That's going to be the square of the measure of the hypotenuse. So C squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the measures of the legs. The sum, add, the squares, that's squared, second power, of the measured legs A and B. We could simplify this. The square of C is equal to the sum of A and B. That makes it a little bit easier to understand. If you can take out some of the context, when you're doing it, maybe it'll simplify. All right, last one here. The sum S of the measures of the angles of a polygon is equal to 180 times the difference of the number of the sides n and 2. Slow down. Too much stuff going on to read at once. The sum of S. Okay, so the sum S. So that's the variable. We don't need this. We're not going to do any adding right now. Of the measures of the angle of the polygon. So this is all context associated to what S means, is equal to 180, okay, times, now here we have times, and we have difference. That's going to be a quantity. That's going to be a grouping symbol. Two operations right next to each other. Difference of a number n and 2. The difference of a number, what is difference? Difference is minus, subtract. A number n and 2. Look at that. We did it. Nice job. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Make sure, if you did this on paper, to put it back in OneNote. All right. Peace.